Choosing the right motorcycle sprocket for street riding can be a tricky process. You want to make sure you get the right combination of torque and acceleration. It's important to know the basics of sprocket sizes and gearing ratios. The two main kinds of sprockets are front and rear. The front sprocket is the one attached to the crankshaft and the rear sprocket is attached to the rear wheel. The size of the sprockets is determined by the number of teeth they have. The gearing ratio is determined by the number of teeth on the front sprocket compared to the rear sprocket. A higher gearing ratio will give you more torque, while a lower gearing ratio will give you more acceleration. When choosing a sprocket size for street riding, it's important to find the right balance between torque and acceleration. You want to make sure you have enough torque to get up to speed quickly, but also enough acceleration to keep up with traffic. It's also important to consider the kind of bike you're riding. If you have a sport bike, you'll want to go with a higher gearing ratio. But if you have a cruiser, you'll want to go with a lower gearing ratio. Finally, it's important to take into account the terrain you'll be riding on. If you're riding on hilly terrain, you'll want to go with a lower gearing ratio. But if you're riding on flat terrain, you'll want to go with a higher gearing ratio. Choosing the right motorcycle sprocket for street riding is a matter of trial and error. You'll want to experiment with different sprocket sizes and gearing ratios to find the right combination for your bike and riding style. Remember, the key is to find the right balance between torque and acceleration. Don't be afraid to experiment and find the right sprocket size and gearing ratio that works for you. Happy riding!